This video today is about accreditation or exploitation, how Boeing and the American National Crediting Board betrayed trust in American quality. And we must go back in time. These pictures are time-worthy and very much so part of this mess. In 2015, Randy Doherty, then the Vice President of ANAB, Chairman of the IF, and Principal on the IF tax report, handed over leadership to this Communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, of the IAF. They handed over leadership of the IF. He was also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, and he is mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. He's been involved with our quality and international quality since 1994. Over here he is, yes, stepping into that Wuhan laboratory, and that laboratory is it. Yes, sirree. 6 months prior to his issuance of the certificate, the scientists were complaining that they did not have properly trained technicians. They didn't have enough. After he handed this certificate to an improper laboratory that was not prepared, he handed the certificate regardless. 6 months after, some specialists came over from the United States, and the scientists were still complaining. This is a matter of fact, and please forgive me that it's backwards, but this is the actual certificate, converted it to English. I apologize, it's backwards. I just want to read you this, what Pamela Sale said about forensic laboratory. Pamela Sale was the vice president and is the vice president of forensic laboratory certification for ANSI-ANAB. And she said, one of the issues is that there is no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs around the country have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines that labs can choose to follow or not. Now, if this certification process is screwed up, what do you think about China? And that's a bio-level 4 lab, highly contagious. Are you kidding me? In fact, in a CDC training document in May of 2019, they came out and they gave a paragraph for this. The most powerful people in any well-run bio-level 4 lab, highest contagion, is to have highly trained technicians, for that is his first line of defense. Well, what I want to do is I want to introduce to you Randy Doherty. Randy. Here he is, Randy. In 2014, prior to him giving the keys to the kingdom to this Communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, okay, he was still the vice president of ANAB and the chairman of the IAF and the principal on the IF tax report. He said, we do not recognize certifications accredited by accreditation bodies that are not members of the IAF, and of course, we do not have anything to do with non-accredited certifications. That is for individual users and the marketplace to decide. Listen to the speech I'm going to give. He changed his tune in 2016. He said, but we recognize and accept that there are conformity assessment bodies. This is 2 years afterwards. And accreditation bodies such as your body and your accreditation body that are not part of the IF and ILAC structure. In 2016 as well, in the same email, he said, I note there is nothing that would prevent your accreditation body from applying to be an IF member, and there is nothing that would prevent you from seeking accreditation by ANAB or another IF accreditation body. It's all voluntary. It's all voluntary, right? Well, I'll tell you this. He invited us to join. Okay, he did. Invite us to join. But how in good conscience, as a proud American, could I join when just a year prior to him inviting us there in 2015, he had handed over leadership to this Communist Chinese national who's mandated through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7, to take our data? How could that happen? And then I gave a speech at the American Society for Quality in 2013. Mr. David Levy was there. He's a Region 3 director at that time. And ASQ, American Society for Quality, owned ANAB 50%. We split our company in two in 2012 and opened up a registrar because something didn't smell right with this whole ANAB accreditation crap. We knew something, but it took us a while to put all the pieces together. And I'm going to tell you a little bit, but this is what he said.
I follow.
Okay.
Thank you.
There is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said before,
Then, hold on. Why
has no problem with you doing what
that's I follow.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
There is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said before,
Then, hold on, why?
There's no restriction on me doing business unaccredited or accredited. And we were invited to join either ANAB or IF in 2016. But as I said, I refused because of this guy right here. Would you join, ladies and gentlemen? You had it bad enough that your registrar never even told you between 2015 and 21 that guy was watching over your business. And here it is. Accreditation or exploitation, how Boeing and ANAB betrayed trust in American quality. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow business owners, my fellow Americans, for decades you've been told that accreditation means trust, competence, and global recognition. But when I asked Randy Doherty, then the chairman and International Accreditation Forum vice president of ANAB, what ANAB's policy was regarding non-ANAB registrars, his answer revealed the truth. We recognize certification bodies accredited by other IF signatories as equivalent to ANAB, but we do not recognize certifications from bodies outside IAF, and we have nothing to do with non-accredited certifications. That is for the marketplace to decide. That statement is not just policy, it is a confession. It means accredited registrars can issue unaccredited certificates, but only insiders are allowed to play the game. Everyone else is locked out. The monopoly. This loophole is exactly why Boeing chose monopoly over integrity. July 2002, Boeing issued a supplier bulletin demanding AS9100, and it must be it must be ANAB accredited or international equivalent, which could be China, Pakistan, Iran, for example. In October 2003, Boeing leveraged 65% control over the Online Aerospace Systems Information System, which was run by the International Aerospace Quality Group, where Boeing had 65% control. This was enforced monopoly. For 23 years, Boeing itself was not AS91 certified, yet they dictated terms to their suppliers. This was not about quality, it was about control. Boeing feared that too many independent certifiers would expose their weakness, and I have exposed it. And I took a little bit of time, but we got the goods on all of this mess, destroying not just the fabric of quality certification in the United States, but worldwide. Whether they're ANAB accredited or they're international equivalents, doesn't matter the registrar either. This was not about quality, it was about control. Boeing feared that too many independent certifiers would expose their weaknesses, so they tightened the funnel, forcing suppliers into ANAB's monopoly, even while ANAB admitted accredited registrars could issue unaccredited certificates. Exposure. The final crack of the facade came on June 27, when Boeing's own executive, Elizabeth Lund, the vice president of quality at the Boeing company, confessed in a Reuters interview that Boeing had never been certified for 22 years at the time. Think about that. Boeing demanded AS9100 certification from suppliers. Boeing enforced ANAB accreditation as the only path. Boeing itself never held the certification it required from others. This is not leadership. This is fraud. Plain and simple. The bigger picture. When Randy Doherty admitted in 2014 what Boeing enforced in 2002 and then Elizabeth Lund confirmed it in 2024, all point to one undeniable truth. The accreditation system has been weaponized. It is not about protecting quality. It's about protecting monopolies. It's about shifting responsibility away from the oversight and onto the marketplace. And it is about allowing global entanglements like China, Iran, Pakistan to dictate terms, industries vital to America's safety and security. Closing call. GPMC refused to join the captured system. My company, we chose integrity over convenience. We chose transparency over monopoly, and we paid the price for telling the truth. But today, the evidence is undeniable. The public must demand accountability. No certificate is official unless it bears both registrar's mark and accreditation mark. Anything less than that is fraud dressed as authority, and Boeing and ANAB caused that fraud. America's trust is on trial, and the verdict will depend on whether we continue to accept probably accredited as good enough, or whether we demand the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. And I exposed the largest industry and fiduciary scam. And during those 22 years, Boeing produced 12,000 plus aircraft commercial, 400 plus military, and an uncertified, unverified environment. My number is 203-556-1493, the largest industrial and fiduciary scam. And we did it. your certificate is fraudulent.